It's New Brew Thursday! Woo! And we're in the lobby of the Hilton, which is pretty awesome. We're at the CBC, and we wanted to take the opportunity to hook up with Spike from Terrapin.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Excellent.
How are you enjoying the conference?
Absolutely.
Tired?
Absolutely. A little tired. You know, I think it's the weather, but you know, beer will keep us alive. It'll keep us going,
exactly.
You know?
Now, your parents did not name you Spike.
No. Do you need the proper name?
Do you want to give the proper name, or would you rather be like the mystery guy of mystery?
Spike.
The Edge. No, my given name is Brian.
Okay.
Last name Bukowski.
Bukowski, right.
So.
And so you are the janitor at Terrapin?
Yes, I clean a lot. Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about Terrapin, how you guys got started, what you guys are doing.
Yeah, well, it's myself and my business partner, John Cochran. We started putting a business plan together back around '99, and you know, looking for funding was a little bit tough back then. I mean, we were battling with, do you have a computer in your basement? Because of course it was the internet boom, and that exploded. And
I know HTML. Give me money.
Exactly. You know, brick and mortar businesses were done. So we finally got so frustrated trying to raise capital, and September 11th happened. So the climate for raising money was tough. So we put our nickels together and started contract brewing in Atlanta.
Okay.
And in 2002, we came out with our first beer, the Rye Pale Ale. It won best pale ale at the Great American Beer Festival that year.
Okay.
So we decided, hey, this beer's got some legs, and then we expanded to the Atlanta market. We were just draft only in Athens our first year.
Excellent.
So.
Now, I was thinking this was your 10th anniversary, but you're going to probably call next year your 10th anniversary.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, I've loved your beers. I've traded for them for years, and Wake and Bake and Big Hoppy Monster. I mean, amazing beers. I haven't had this one yet,
right?
So I'm very excited to try it. Tell us a little bit about this.
This is.
I will open it while you're doing that.
If you guys are familiar with our side project series,
yes,
it's just one-off beers that we do about every two and a half months or so. This one is called Big Daddy Vlady. It's our Russian Imperial Stout. We came out with it winter of 2010. So it's just something for us as creative brewers to put something out every couple months and just try one-off beers. And it's just a great style to do in the winter, of course. This is something you can lay down, so hopefully it will get better with age.
What's the ABV on this?
ABV is about 10.5.
Nice, perfect. Good range.
Yeah, we're obviously pretty proud of this one, and all of our side project beers are very unique and one-off beers, and some of them have even made it into the rotation of seasonal beers.
Yeah,
as well.
popular.
It's kind of like our testing ground.
Well, cheers.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Thank you for bringing this.
Absolutely.
This has a great nose to it. I really like the way it smells.
Yeah, classic.
Drunk driving, classic.
Yeah, and it's still hot, man. It's got some heat.
Yeah, definitely as you lay that down, the fusel notes will pop off, and it'll be just really
phenomenal.
And I made it to lay it down. You know, obviously, if we're doing our regular rye pale ale or hopscution or something like that, you want it fresh when it comes out of the brewery. This one, I was just like, let's do something big, bad, and.
Now, like Bill said,
alcohol, I think it's like 10.5.
Okay. Like Bill said, we both have actually traded a lot of beer to get Terrapin. And, as a brewer, how do you feel about that? The beer trading that goes on for your beers, that kind of thing?
Well,
it's the new latest and greatest thing to do with beer.
Right.
So.
I mean, I'm really flattered that our beers are being traded for some of the best beers in the country. I mean, it's just really, really neat when people are like, yeah, I traded this Stone Vertical Epic, blah, 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 for your Hoppy Monster and Make and Bake or whatever it is, and it's just great. On the flip side, though, is, how was your beer handled from that time, from that trade to the next trade? Us as brewers, we want the freshest possible dynamite product leaving your brewery, but once it leaves the brewery, what happens after that?
You have no control over it at that point.
When you see, okay, Big Hoppy Monster 06 from somebody going, man, I would love to get my hands on that. Well, hopefully it wasn't, in the backseat of his GM driving around for 4 years.
You don't want them to get a hand on that. And the worst thing is when you find your growlers showing up in some other state. That's always terrible. But something like this is perfect. This is, I wish brewers would put on their perfect for trading.
Yeah, really.
Put that back on the label.
Exactly, because a lot of stuff on the labels is, cellaring temperature, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that would be kind of neat.
Yeah, I think like the brewery kind of did their little nod to that with the ISO FT. Those are the in search of, for trade.
Right.
So, I mean, I think brewers are beginning to take more notice of the fact that their beers are being traded, that kind of thing. And I mean, given the distribution problems, and that was one of the things that was discussed today at the main keynote, was how the wholesale, like there's not enough wholesalers right now for all of the different craft breweries that are popping up. And, you know, so obviously Terrapin is going to have a hard time getting out here to the West Coast, and a lot of our West Coast beers are having a hard time getting over there. So it's always a pleasure to be able to try the beer. But I think when you're doing a trade, the thing you have to keep in mind is that this is maybe not the best representation of this brewer's beer. And you got to take that into account.
It's tough.
I think what's great is, like, I know you're doing it, you grow organically. You don't overextend your bounds. That's the worst thing, is when all of a sudden your beers are showing up 10 states away and you don't have the production for it. And then they end up sitting on shelves, you have poor distribution, things like that. So it's bad news. But just growing up gradually, organically, and, you know, the beers will get out there to the people. If they want them, they're going to get them. There's ways to do that. And it's a great reason to stop in Atlanta and then Athens. But I mean, Georgia as a whole, there's all these. When I first was doing this 25 years ago, 30 some years ago, but then there was nothing. But 25 years ago, you know, basically it was East Coast, West Coast, Oregon, Washington, Northern California. There were a couple places popping up, you know, Carroll Stout up in Pennsylvania, you know, Larry Bell and the guys at New Glarus. But now every state has, just about every state has amazing beers. And Georgia has amazing breweries and great beer bars. And that's what's really cool about it.
What I love about Georgia or Atlanta, where I was recently, the craft beer is so ubiquitous. You go to a movie theater, restaurant, you'll see Stillwater 420 or Terrapin Pumpkin, or everywhere.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
It's kind of nice. I mean, because I think a lot of people get the misconception that the Southeast is this big barren wasteland, and I mean, granted, 10 years ago it absolutely was, but I mean, it's really coming along. It's good to see.
Now, I believe this is number 13 of your side project series?
Yes, it is.
And so, tell me a little bit about the side project. Like, what is that exactly? Like, what are you guys doing with that?
Basically, because my ADHD is not under control, I just need something, basically...
Their first beer was Ritalin infused.
Right, that's right. I started my brewing career, interning at a brew pub, and then went out to brewing school, came back, did my internship at a brew pub, and then started at a brewery. So my roots are actually from brew pubs, but working at a brewery and a brew pub is totally two different things, obviously, especially in Georgia because the brew pubs can't distribute. Everything has to be consumed on premise. You have total control from start to finish on premise. As a brewer, you want everything to be totally same every time. With the brew pub, you can play a little bit with recipes. And, for us, this is just something for us to do every month, or every 2.5 months, to get something in front of the public so it keeps people's, eye fresh on Terrapin. Because we've got a great core of beers, but every couple months when something new comes out, they may pick up, oh man, this is new from Terrapin, but man, I haven't had the rye pale ale in a while. I need to pick up another 6-pack. So it kind of makes them revisit your brand as well, which is really, really nice.
Do you feel like the craft brewing or the craft beer community has gotten a little bit, like you said, ADHD with beer, as far as like if you're not coming out with something new and interesting all the time, that they just sort of run around like little kids looking for the next best thing? Or?
Yeah, you do see that. That's why you really have to have a solid core base of brands. And I also find that, some restaurants or beer bars, they may not carry your flagship brand, but they want every single special brand that you do. And that's tough because you want them to support you, you want to support them, but it's hard just to ship those special beers because you don't make that much of them.
Exactly.
So.
Right on.
Yeah,
so, what's the future for Terrapin? What do you guys got coming forward?
We need
Speaking
to buy
of something special.
World domination.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
what are we doing today, Pinky?
Well, we've got, we just came out with 14 side project, which was Tomfoolery, which is a black Saison. We just filtered up actually today. Actually, we transferred up something we're calling Indiana Crunkles. If you guys were familiar with Captain Crunkles last year. Indiana Crunkles is kind of a continuation of that. So it's a wheat IPA. Okay. We also sponsor the Terrapin Twilight, which is it's a bike race every year in Athens. So I'm actually doing a Kolsch for it. Nice. We're calling it Road Warrior Kolsch. And
perfect beer for that.
Cool. Absolutely. So there's always something new and exciting.
This is a great beer. I'd love to do this with cigars, chocolate, food. Matter of fact, we're going to go off to a master pairing right now. It won't be with this beer, but I wish it was. And we'll see you guys in a minute.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Master Pairings with me, Dr. Bill, and apparently the gopher from Caddyshack. Actually, Steven Johnson.
Sometimes
today,
you just got to dance, don't hate.
Yes, we're doing a Dogfish head beer. This is the Palo Santo Marron. I wanted a big beer with this because I wanted to show that it can hold up to big beers. We're going to do a fabulous wagyu filet mignon.
What's wagyu?
Beautiful piece of meat. Wagyu is basically the Kobe beef that we hear of from Japan, the lovingly hand-brush fed beer cows that never have to do any exercise.
That have a better life than I do?
Yes. And this is the American version is Wagyu.
Okay.
So it's a fabulous piece of meat.
Looks like it was cooked beautifully by someone who is really good at that.
We'll see. So normally a big porter, or just not even a big porter, a dunkel, a Schwarzbier, a brown ale, things like that. So instead, we're going to do a 12% brown ale. This is the Palo Santo Marron, like I said, from Sam at Dogfish Head. It's done with the Palo Santo tree out of Paraguay.
Right.
It's their holy tree, so it imparts a really rich flavor.
Really super huge vats made out of Palo Santo Marron wood that are really cool looking.
Such a great beer.
I love this stuff.
Look at the way you poured it. Just by pouring it, look at the creaminess of my head, and look at the tightly structured beating versus what's going on with your beer. And that's just that's a variable probably from the two beers. Beautiful nose.
Mm-hmm. Oh, smells amazing.
Such a big beer, so luscious. And this is at cellar temperature. I mean,
yeah.
I did not get this cold at all. Wow, is that delicious?
Yeah.
I love that beer. So much characteristics going on. So many characteristics, not only from the roasted malt, but from the wood. The wood is just brings out these spicy notes. Not cinnamon-like, more depth than cinnamon.
Right.
But really intense, like gnawing on the bark of a Palo Santo tree in Paraguay.
All right. I was doing that once and they told me to stop and asked me to leave Paraguay and never come back. It was a sad day.
Yes. Uruguay now, you can get away with that.
Yeah, well, those Uruguayans.
Let me just cut you off a piece.
Oh, somebody knows we're cutting meat. Hear the clickety-clack of Sam.
That looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's had plenty of time to rest. I think you're going to find this is
it's very, easy to cut through.
Buttery.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of... that's the beauty of...
Properly fed cow.
And paying an exorbitant price for meat so that you have only the best. Just a little salt and pepper on it, I believe, and a little oil.
Oh my God. It literally just melts in your mouth.
Very subtle flavor. Filet mignons are very low in fat content, so they're very subtle.
Oh my God.
But they pair beautifully with this beer. Really brings out some of the fusel alcohol notes, some of the alcohol heat, and it also brings out a lot more of the sweetness in the beer.
I want to make not a gravy, but like a dipping sauce out of this beer for this meat.
You could very easily.
Yeah.
We haven't explored that, but I've definitely been known to cook with beer, and it's a very fun thing to do. One of my close friends, the home brew chef,
Sean,
he he's got a plethora of recipes, and he's always offered them to me. So, I mean, but this is easy. This is a no-brainer. You reduce this down.
Right.
You add in proper seasonings, a little fat, beautiful.
Yeah, the caramelization on this beer would just works so well with the steak.
It pairs beautifully, and I think it's just a masterful pairing.
Well, should we test it with Sam?
Yeah.
Come here, buddy. Up. Good boy. There you
I
go.
want to see him flip your plate over.
Yeah, exactly.
Get down.
All right, stay down now.
All right, guys.
Tails
I want to
wagging.
thank you guys all for coming. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming to another Master Pairings.
So Spike, this is it's awesome meeting you at the CBC. We're very happy that we got to hook up with you and try this beer. This was amazing. What party did you go on to tonight?
Well, I think we're going to the owners' party at Anchor, and definitely going to the Fillmore, because I've never been to the Fillmore, so that should be interesting. And I'm sure Tornado, Magnolia, whatever other tomfoolery.
I hear people are going to be on a boat tonight, drinking Westy and eating sushi.
That would be fun.
Well, I'm thinking with the weather the way it's been, I see a lot of people throwing up. But the CBC, the after parties are a lot of crazy parties. So it's totally worthwhile. But it's great meeting you. It's great drinking the beer. Thanks very much.
Cheers,
Cheers brother.
Appreciate it.
And as always, stay safe and drink beer.